Words so sharp, they cut right through. Real talk for the soul's appeal. Prayers rise up the wounds they heal. Lift our voices to the sky. A righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down. For the Father wears the crown. Each step brings another fight. Breaking chains, we're seeking light. Voice of power won't be tamed. With His love, we're never shamed. Lift our voices to the sky. A righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down. For the Father wears the crown. From the ashes we shall rise. Hope is found deep in our eyes. Every word a battle cry. With the Father none deny.
Hate when that happens. I hate when that happens. Goodness gracious. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to ARP in the morning. I'm your host, Wise, man. I appreciate you guys pulling up. And happy hump day to you guys, man. Man, I really hate when that thing doesn't automatically switch off the mute. I didn't even push the daggone mute button, but I appreciate you guys pulling up this morning, man. Shout out to Kevin Caldwell. Thank you for being the first person in the chat this morning. Thank you very much. I kind of got the link posted a little later than normal. Normally, I'm about an hour in advance. This morning, I was probably about 30 minutes or so, in advance. But we here. We are here. I hope everybody had a great night's rest. I hope everybody had a great day yesterday. Shout out to my guy, Playboy Billy, William Walker Grimsworth. I know he had a rough go at it yesterday. Y'all make sure y'all send some prayers, put some prayers up, in the sky for him. And Playboy, I don't know if you saw my chat there, but I would love for you to pull up today, and hopefully that's something that we could do, on a week-to-week basis. Maybe on Wednesday we can get you to pull up. I don't have any questions to ask you. I just want to hear what's on your mind. I thought you did a great job last week. Just talking about some of the things that's come across your radar. So if you're interested, the invite is here. I definitely would love for you to pull up this morning. That would be awesome. Shout out to PK Krillin. Appreciate you guys pulling up this morning. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit that like button. What up, PK Krillin? How's it going this morning? What's up, Kiwan Lynette? And hopefully I'm pronouncing your name properly. Please let me know in the chat if I am pronouncing your name properly, but I'm almost for certain it's Kiwan. How's it going this morning, sister? Appreciate you pulling up. Donald Lovejoy in the building. Appreciate you pulling up. And Lori Otteson and Ed Maurer. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What's up, Nelly? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. Hope all is well with you. Hope all is well with you. Y'all make sure y'all seriously send some prayers for up for William Walker Grimsworth, or who I have affectionately named and dubbed Playboy Billy. Y'all make sure y'all show him some love, man, and put some prayers up for him as well. Shout out to Redefine Queen. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Christy? Chi-Town in the building. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well with you guys. What up, Quincy? How's it going this morning, brother? Hope all is well with you. Appreciate you pulling up. What up, Midnight Rider Gray? Gary, sorry about that. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. He's got a good one. Good morning, ARP family. God bless you all and have a fantastic day. Outstanding, man. Thank you. And yes, please have an outstanding day today. Hope all is well with you guys, man. What up, Billy W? H-Town in the building. What's going on? What's going on, Coaster? What's up, Zephyr K9? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well. What up, Jane Fecto? Appreciate you pulling up. What up, Vanessa Hall? How you doing this morning, sister? Hope all is well. What up, Dion? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up, sister. Hope you're doing all right out there in the loo. What up, Big Job Ford? How's it going? What up, Marie News? How's it going this morning? Marie says she missed a few days, but hi and hello to you. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well. Hope you're doing all right. What's up, Insanity's Darling out of Richmond, Virginia? Appreciate you pulling up. Toy Mafia in the building. Appreciate you pulling up as well. What up, Ace Brigade? How's it going this morning, brother? Hope all is well with you. What up, Amber Young? JJ O'Hara? Hope all is well. Hey, Vanessa, I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but the bill did pass here in Maryland. So obviously taxes are going to go up a little bit. Now, they say for us, lower level people, peasants, we're actually going to get a tax break here in Maryland, but everybody else is going to go up. But then there's the tax increase on sales, on what else? It was sales, it was sports betting, it was the marijuana, it was the tolls. What else? There was something else that was going up. I believe property taxes going up. There's a few things. So although, yeah, I guess there's tax breaks for, us peasants here in Maryland, but you're going to pay all the money that you're going to save. You're going to pay it out, in tolls and fines and things of that nature. I don't know. I know you down there, you're in Clinton, so you're in that PG County area. You guys got cameras up and all types of stuff all over the place. It's ridiculous. What's up, Billboard Bills? How's it going this morning? What's going on with you? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well with you guys. We're going to get the show started. We're not going to be a super long show today, at least with me. We will have I'll open it up to have some call-ins. I definitely want to hear from my guy, Playboy Billy, this morning. If he's up to it. If he's not, it's okay. I understand. But if he's up to it, I definitely like to pull up. Shout out to Scott Williams. Says, good morning to you, Wise. I may not chime in every day, but I'm tuning in live and direct from Mesa, Arizona. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. And thank you very much for the super chat. Not super chat, but thank you for the chat. And thank you for supporting the channel and supporting the show on a day-to-day basis, man. Y'all make sure y'all show Scott some love up in there. What's up, Mark? How's it going this morning? Hope all is well. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so let me get through the muteds because Lord knows, going through this StreamYard thing and it got me all muted and stuff. That should not be the case. That should not be the case. That's so annoying. What's up, JC Storyteller? How's it going? I hope all is well. What up, Kenny Cooper? How's it going this morning? Cruising through Mississippi, man. Y'all make sure y'all put some traveling grace prayers up for my guy, Kenny Cooper, man. Be safe out there on the road, brother. What's up, Reza Mahmood? How's it going this morning? I know. Muted and talking. That's the worst, man. I hate when that happens. What's up, Daniel Caps? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. All right, let's get the show started. We got a pretty good show today. We are going to have a call in, so anybody that would like to pull up for a quick second, hopefully we'll get Playboy Billy to pull up today as well. For the third time I've mentioned that today. That lets you know how I'm excited I am and how much I appreciated him pulling up yesterday. All righty. And Kiwan said I actually pronounced her name properly. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right. What's up, Jamie Mendoza? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you. Callie in the building. Shout out to you. What's up, Marilyn Kaplan? How's it going this morning? Dennis Brandon, appreciate you pulling up. Utah in the house. Shout out. What's up, James Brown? I feel good here in the red state of Oregon. What's up, Joseph Orsini? How's it going this morning, brother? Let's get the show started. We're about 10 minutes in. We're a little. All right. Shout out to Dion with the $2 super chat. Says, I've been dodging twisters, but doing okay. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I know. We actually had up here last week, we had tornado warnings up here, and that's not a normal occurrence up here in Maryland. To have those types of things. Fortunately, none touched down, anywhere, close to where I live at. But I know you guys out there in Missouri, and as you get a little further, a little further west in the flatlands out there, I know y'all get those twisters big time out there, man. So, glad to hear that you're doing okay and that you're safe out there, Dion. All right, let's get the show started, man. If you haven't done so already, man, please hit that like button for me. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button for me. Super chats will stop the show. Super thanks will stop the show. Anybody that joins the ARP family or gifts an ARP family membership, that will stop the show. They will be acknowledged as well. And shout out to my folks that support the channel via Cash App, that also support the channel via Buy Me a Coffee. I definitely appreciate you all. Thank you very much for supporting me and supporting this channel. I really, really appreciate it. I do not take it for granted at all. I definitely do not. And let me just quick shout out real fast to Regina Alongi. Thank you for supporting the channel via Buy Me a Coffee. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And shout out to Eric Plummer as well. Thank you for supporting the channel via Cash App. Definitely appreciate that. If you guys would like to support the channel in that way, check out the description box. All that information is in there as well. Shout out to the Blues. Y'all make sure y'all keep things peaceful in the chat, but don't censor anybody. As long as they're not, cussing and being, disrespectful in the chat, let them be. I don't want to be in an echo chamber, and civil discourse, I think, is really good. I think as we can debate, we don't have to agree on everything. I don't think everybody that watches the show agrees with me 100% of the time, and I'm okay with that. Long as they're being respectful, that's really all that matters to me. In the chat, just being respectful. Other than that, civil discourse, I think, is extremely, extremely important, and that's something that we've been lacking in this country. So in the chat, let's make sure that we maintain civil discourse. But I'm okay with, people who have takes or say things that, may go against, what we're talking about or what the masses, actually feel. What's going on, Leslie Aaron? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What's up, Sean Clement? Appreciate you pulling. It's already 85 and it's not even 10 a.m. We actually got a cold front. Going on up here. It was 55 degrees yesterday. And Monday evening, it actually came in. It started cooling off Monday evening. I went and hung out with some friends for their anniversary. And yeah, after leaving the restaurant, man, it got really cool. And then yesterday it was cool, and today it's still pretty cool out. Shout out to R. Rendales with the $2 super chat or super sticker. Thank you very much for supporting the channel, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. And shout out to Christy, my Chi-Town sister. Says, always a great show, always a great chat. Happy to be a part of the ARP family. Thank you very much, Christy, with the $20 super chat or super chat. Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate the support. Definitely do. But let's get the show started, man. I'm not gonna lie to you though. Sean Clement said 55. That's almost the ice age. I know. For this time of the year, we're almost in June, and when we're still, we were in the 50s. Although, I mean, it's Maryland. They say, hey, give it a little bit. And I'm sure, my sister down there in Clinton, I'm sure she knows what I'm talking about here. When I say, hey, give it a little bit, and the weather will change. That is Maryland for you. One day it will be 50. The next day it'll be 90 and smoking outside. You don't know how to dress. Why you think that's why I got a hoodie on today? You really, in this state, you really don't know what to do or how to dress until about June. About June, it's officially hot. Vanessa, you know what I'm talking about. Our daggone weather is crazy. It's bipolar, is all get out. You never know what you're gonna get. The months March, April, and May, I guess traditionally would be spring in a lot of places, but you just never know. I mean, it will be cold one day, hot the next day, raining the day after. You just never know. Shout out to Marla with the $2 super chat. You have the best chat. People are so kind here. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's crazy. It is Crazy, you know. And last week it rained pretty much all week last week, to be expected. I mean, it is spring and we needed it to wash the wash this pollen away. The pollen was thick, but it warmed up on Saturday. It jumped to like 85. Sunday, the temp dropped 15 degrees or so. The high was 70 something. Monday, it was in the 70s, and then it dropped to the 50s. And Tuesday, we were in the 50s. And it did warm up towards middle of the day. I think we did get probably closer to high 60s, low 70s, but it was still cool in comparison. But it's Maryland for you, man. It is what it is. It is Maryland for you. Red Slayer 86 says he lives on the Eastern Shore. The weather has been annoying. Yeah. There's been days I walk outside to take my dog out to go walk my dog, and I got a jumpsuit on, sweatsuit with a hoodie on, and it's blazing outside. And then there'll be another day I go out there, I got shorts and a t-shirt on, and I'm like, man, I got to go back in the house and change. You just never know. Now, Christy, we play golf almost year round. This year, not so much because it was really, really cold during the winter months. This year was really cold during the winter months, but typically we're out. If it's 45 degrees or higher, we're playing golf, typically. But this year, man, we got a lot of snow. We got a lot of ice. It was nasty out this year. So January, February, we really wasn't able to really get out and play golf this year. But, it is what it is. But let's get the show started, man. Like I said, super chats will stop the show. Super thanks. Make sure y'all hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Let's get it.
And I have to tell you directly and personally that I regret voting for you for Secretary of State. I yield back.
May I respond?
You may sit.
Well, first of all, your regret for voting for me confirms I'm doing a good job, based on what I know.
Well, that's
about
just
your
a
record
flippant
and what you
statement,
stand
Mr.
for.
Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr. Chairman?
You may.
I didn't ask.
Senator,
question.
please let the Secretary have
I'd be
the floor.
happy to, but then I can respond to his.
Your time's up, Senator, and willfully used, I might add.
Well,
So Secretary of State Marco Rubio testified before the Senate on the State Department budget yesterday. And let's just say that things got a little heated at times. Rubio defended the $28.5 billion budget request, arguing it would allow his department to continue enacting Trump's vision while cutting $20 billion of duplicative, wasteful, and ideological-driven programs. He faced pushback on the decimation of foreign aid, the slashing of staff at the State Department and U.S. Agency for International Development, and the folding of the USAID into the State Department. So a lot of folks aren't real happy with the cuts and the things that are happening right now, but these are things that I believe need to happen. You had senators out there also asking about Trump's plans to unwind Syria sanctions, Rubio's role in the administration's immigration crackdown, the delivery of humanitarian assistance to Palestinians in Gaza, and efforts to end the war in Ukraine. But the real firestorm came when Rubio was grilled on the Trump administration's policy of revoking student visas for those disrupting college campuses. That's a no-brainer right there. It should be. If you haven't already seen it, I mean, you guys got to check it out, man. We're going to watch it. Buckle up, because this might be one of the most satisfying moments to come out of the Senate all year long. Let me break this down for you, or let me set the stage real quick. So here's the deal. Senator Chris Van Hollen, y'all know who it is. Y'all know what time it is with Van Hollen. Unfortunately, he represents us here in Maryland. Unfortunately, he's a Democrat out of Maryland. He's the guy that ran down to, that ran down to El Salvador for Kilmore Abreu Garcia. That's the guy. Van Hollen, Democrat senator from Maryland and certified member of the Woke Brigade, decided to use a public hearing to try to grandstand against Trump's Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. Now, keep in mind, this is the guy. I got to repeat it. This is the guy who flew down to El Salvador to rescue a known illegal immigrant gang member. Unfortunately, hey, I got to say it, Maryland, we got to take an L with this guy. Honestly, we got to take an L with a few of our daggone politicians. Him, Raskins, also Brooke. She's in there, but she hadn't been in there long enough to really make a fool of herself yet. But trust me, it's coming. Our two senators, both senators from the state of Maryland are Democrats. You got also Brooke, who just got in there. She was out of PG County. And Vanessa, you know what I'm talking about. Anybody that knows anything that was going on in PG County, a ton of corruption going on in PG County. A ton of it. And she was right there in the thick of it. And then you got this guy, Van Hollen. Oh my gosh, man. Our representation when it comes to the Senate here out of Maryland, it's not good. We got to take a L for that. Now, I'm just sitting here to let it be known. I didn't vote for Van Hollen. I did not support also Brooke. I didn't support either one of them. But unfortunately, they both got in because it is Maryland, and this is a fairly blue state, unfortunately. But yeah, Van Hollen, you know, that's who we're dealing with here. So in this hearing, Van Hollen launches into some self-righteous tirade and says that he regrets voting for Rubio's confirmation, which was a big mistake. Because what followed was not only a total reality check, but a masterclass in unapologetic America First diplomacy. Let's keep the show going, man. Hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. My blues in the chat. Make sure y'all keep track of everything. We got 209 people. We should have 200 plus likes right now on the stream. Make sure we make that happen. Thank you guys, man.
I have to tell you directly and personally that I regret voting for you for Secretary of State. I yield back.
May I respond?
You may sit.
Well, first of all, your regret for voting for me confirms I'm doing a good job, based on what I know.
Well, that's
about
just
your
a
record
flippant
and what you
statement,
stand
Mr.
for.
Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr. Chairman?
You may.
I didn't ask a
Senator,
question.
please let the secretary have
I'd be
the floor.
happy to, but then I can respond to his.
Your time's up, Senator, and willfully used, I might add.
Well-
Your remarks do not represent the view of this committee.
Well, Mr.
Secretary, please.
Well, I'd like to. I can't respond to everything he said because much of these are untrue, but I'll go through a few. First of all, I'm actually very proud of the work we've done with USAID. For example, I don't regret cutting $10 million for male circumcisions in Mozambique. I don't know how that makes us stronger and more prosperous as a nation.
I raised
don't regret
Sudan, Mr.
psychosocial support services.
I
for
raised
USAID.
Sudan, Mr. Secretary.
Can I
not
respond, Mr.
Mozambique.
Chairman, or do I?
Senator, I'd ask you to suspend. You had 7 straight minutes of
I chose to
railing on-
use my time that way, Mr. Chairman. That's my right to
Please
use my time
suspend,
that way.
Secretary Rubio.
Well, I can go on. I mean, there's other things here. We spent $227,000 for Big Cat's YouTube channel from USAID. We spent $14 million for social cohesion in Mali, whatever the hell that means. So I can go on and on. I got the list here, and there's more. I didn't even bring the whole list. In the case of El Salvador, absolutely. Absolutely. We deported gang members, including the one that you had a margarita with. And that guy is a human trafficker, and that guy is a gangbanger, and the evidence is going to be clear. In the days to come,
Mr.
you're going to see
Chairman,
who you went to
look,
defend.
Senator,
I'm sorry,
please,
Mr. Chairman.
Secretary
No.
Rubio has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, he can't make unsubstantiated
Senator,
comments like that.
Secretary Rubio has.
Yes. This dude said Big Cat channel on YouTube. How much money was spent on that? What was it? $14 million? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yo, Marco Rubio come in with the absolute savagery. That's how it's done, man. That's how it's done. You turn the tables and expose some of the ridiculous waste and fraud. Rubio was absolutely right to say, we don't know foreign governments are dying unless it serves the interests of the United States, point blank, period. And Van Hollen trying to call out Rubio over his dealings with El Salvador, and Rubio called it like it is, man. You had a margarita with a dude who has MS-13 ties, who beat his wife, not once, but twice. Well, let's say this. Who beat his wife 2 times that we know of. So much so that she had to get not 1, but 2 protective custody, what do you call those, protective measures against him, restraining orders. And you go down grandstanding and have margaritas with a dude that is known for putting hands on his wife. No, we're not bringing him back. And guess what? We're going to deport more people like him. And we need to. But let's keep going.
Has the floor. You had
Secretary
your time.
Rubio should take that testimony to the federal court of the
Senator?
United States because
Well,
he hasn't done it under oath.
Here's another point, okay? There is a division in our government between the federal branch and the judicial branch. No judge in the judicial branch cannot tell me or the president how to conduct foreign policy. No judge can tell me how I have to outreach to a foreign partner or what I need to say to them. And if I do reach to that foreign partner and talk to them, I am under no obligation to share that with the judiciary branch. Just like a judge cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister of Russia, they cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister or the president of El Salvador. And if I did negotiate with them, which we have responded to them, and we've told them we've had communications with the president of El Salvador, I am under no obligation under our division of powers in this country and to share with the judicial branch how I conducted diplomacy of the United States. It would actually be counterproductive. If I started sharing with courts, or frankly, with the media, my conversations with foreign leaders and all of their details, no foreign leader would talk to me again, and we would break trust with them. So I have complied with every court order. What I won't comply with is an order to disclose what I'm saying and what we're talking about with a foreign leader, because then they won't talk to me. Diplomacy doesn't work that way. About the student visas, let me say this. I don't deport anybody, and I don't snatch anybody. The State Department does not have officers in the street snatching everybody. What I do is revoke visas, and it's very simple. A visa is not a right. It is a privilege. People apply for student visas to come into the United States and study. And if you tell me that you're coming to the United States to lead campus crusades, to take over libraries and try to burn down buildings and acts of violence, we're not going to give you a visa.
Is that what Ms. Ozturk did?
We're not going to give you a visa.
Is that what she
And if you
did?
do
Come
that-
on, Mr. Secretary.
And every single
You're
one of
just
these
blowing
cases, the
smoke
factors
here
are
now.
different.
Senator-
The bottom line is, if you're
Senator,
coming here to stir up trouble on our campuses, we will deny you a visa. And if you
Does
have
the
a
First
visa
Amendment
and we find
apply
you,
to
we'll
people
revoke
living in
it.
the United
And
States?
we're going to do more. There are more coming. We're going to continue to revoke the visas of people who are here as guests and are disrupting our higher education facilities. People are paying money. These kids pay money to go to school, and they have to walk through
Writing
a bunch
an
of
op-ed
lunatics
to the
who are
Tufts
here on student
newspapers
visas.
disrupting the
Simple
foreign
as
policy of the
that.
United
I want to
States.
do more. I hope we can
That's
find more of these people.
pathetic, Mr.
In fact, the other day, some guys led a riot. I forgot what university it was, and I asked, please, can you find the arrest records of all the people that were arrested at that riot at that campus? Because if any of them have a visa, we're going to revoke
I
it.
feel so much safer
All right,
when you lock
let's,
up people like Ms. Ozturk, Mr. Secretary.
We've had enough time on the subject. Thank you very much. And we're going to move to Senator Lee.
Shout out to George A. Romero with the $2 super chat. Thank you for the honest information every day, and appreciate you, man. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Now, I got to ask this question to you guys. Is Rubio wrong? I don't think he is. I don't think he's wrong. I believe Kathy had mentioned that Rubio is setting himself up for a presidential run. You may be right. Although he also could be setting himself up to be maybe the next vice president. It's so early. Honestly, let's not go down that road just yet. Let's not go down the 2028 road just yet. We know we got a really good bench. We got a good deep bench. It could easily be JD Vance with Rubio, partnered, with them as VP. And in my opinion, that's probably a winning ticket. But we're not even 6 months into President Trump's administration, and we're already thinking about 2028. We got years to go. But we're already thinking about it. It's still 2025. We got a long ways to go. We really do. We got a long ways to go. But Marco Rubio was cooking, man. He's not wrong. The judiciary doesn't get to dictate foreign policy. Courts don't get to order the Secretary of State to share private conversations with foreign leaders. They just don't get to do it. And why? Because no foreign leader would ever talk to us again if they knew that we're going to run to the media or to the judges with every detail of every conversation that is had. And he's absolutely right, man. He's absolutely right. You can't conduct effective foreign policy with a court micromanaging every call, every negotiation, every back channel. You just can't do it. That's not how the real world works. That's not how this works, man. Shout out to Jeanette with the $5 super chat. Says Secretary Rubio dropped the hammer yesterday. No, he's not wrong. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you, sister. Thank you for supporting the channel. And let's talk about these visas real fast. A visa, the last time I checked, a visa isn't a right. It's a privilege. You, sir or ma'am, who is on a visa, you get the privilege to come here, live in this country, and go to school to get an education. It's a privilege. It's not a right. It's a privilege. It's not a right. I got to say it again. It's a privilege, not a right. So if you come to this country and your plan is to stir up chaos on our college campuses, organize riots, disrupt university life, attack U.S. policy, then yes, your visa deserves to be revoked. It deserves to be revoked. No one's getting deported. They're revoking access to this country for foreign nationals who come here and try to disrupt our society from within. A visa, a student visa that is, and all visas, are not rights. It's a privilege. You get the privilege to come here. I mean, this was a stellar defense of America First diplomacy that was put on display by Secretary Marco Rubio. Shout out to Amy, is it McCloe or McCloe? Hopefully I'm pronouncing that properly. Correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you for the $2 super sticker. Thank you very much, sister. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, but it was a masterclass by Rubio, in the defense of America First diplomacy. Now let's get into another fiery exchange. At one point, Democrat Senator Tim Kaine, I know you guys remember him. Y'all remember Tim Kaine, right? Senator Tim Kaine, at one point asked Marco Rubio about the South African refugees coming to the United States. Can you have different standards based upon the color of somebody's skin? Let's see what Marco Rubio had to say about this. I mean, my issue with these Democrats, before I let this clip play, is that they're always looking to everything as through a racial lens. They're always looking at everything through a racial lens. And it's wearing on a lot of people. It really is. It's wearing on a lot of people. And to an extent, it may be working for some. Because there's a lot of unfortunate racial, animosity that is going. Now, I don't know if it's happening in real life. I don't see it, being out here in Maryland. I don't see it in real life. My neighborhood, I don't see it. And I live around, people of all ilks, in my neighborhood. So I don't see it. And maybe it's just an online thing. And what we do know about X and some of these other platforms out there, sometimes X is definitely, a lot of these forums, they're not real places. This is a place where people can get out and troll and say some of the most vile things, but do they really act like that in real life? I don't know. I know I haven't experienced it, out here in Maryland, in a state that is as diverse as probably any state out here in the union, and we all live amongst each other. I personally hadn't seen, any of the, that animosity, but I'm not saying that it's not out there.
Yeah.
So a well-justified fear of persecution.
Yeah, they
You don't
thought
think
that their
means-
farms
you
were
don't
being
think
burned
that
down and they
means
would be
anything?
killed. I think that's a pretty good justification for wanting to come. They're
Okay.
afraid for their lives.
And should it be applied in an even-handed way? That's an easy.
No, our foreign policy doesn't require even-handedness. It
Well, wait,
requires
but the
prioritizing the interests of the
statutory
United States.
phrase says you are entitled to entrance as a refugee if you demonstrate a well-justified fear of persecution.
No,
I
you're
mean,
not entitled,
So
you're
can
allowed.
you have a different standard based upon the color of somebody's skin? Would that be acceptable?
Well, I'm not the one arguing that. Apparently you are, because you don't
No,
like the fact that they're
I'm
white,
just
and that's why
asking
they're
you to
coming.
say that that would be unacceptable.
no,
That
I would say that
seem
the
to be
United
a
States-
very easy
The
thing
United
to
States
say,
has a right to pick and choose who they allow into the United
even
States.
based on the color of somebody's skin.
No
you're
one's.
saying.
You're the one that's talking about the color of their skin, not me. These
You're
are people whose
refusing to
farms were being
acknowledge
burned
that
down
it
and they were
should be
killed because of the
even-handed.
color of their skin.
Well,
Because they were- Well, you've demonstrated enough because you think anyone should be allowed into this country for any reason because they met a certain
who has
criteria.
said that?
We are going to prioritize people that come into our country on the basis of what's in the interest of this country. That's a small number of people that are coming.
But
in
you
that
said
particular
this
case.
weekend that
But
there
in
would
other
be more.
cases, it's harder to vet. In other cases, it's more difficult. And by the way, the United States admits people every year.
All right, we gotta talk about this. We gotta talk about this a bit because our friends over on the left have absolutely freaked out over the Trump administration's decision to grant refugee status to a few dozen white South Africans from the Afrikaner community. And I mean, I understand why, because they look at everything through a racial lens. They do. They look at everything through a racial lens. I mean, they claim to love refugees. They claim. That's their claim. Shout out to Rose Brown with the $2 super chat. She says, thank you for the eye-opening info on this channel. Thank you very much, Rose. Appreciate you supporting the channel. You know, so here you have a people who say that they are about the refugees. What we do know, there's been plenty of videos out there, you know, out in South Africa, you know, of these people talking about killing, you know, these white South Africans or Afrikaners, whatever you want to call them. I don't really know the real term. I'm guessing they call themselves Afrikaners, whatever. There's a plethora of videos. There is a street that has crosses with hundreds of them being killed. This is happening. I don't think all of them are coming here to the United States. I think they're going to different nations, you know, around the world. We're talking, I mean, I think it was 49. It was either 49 or 59 people that they allowed over. And when you compare that to the 10 to 20 million people that they allowed here over the last 4 years, I mean, we're talking, I mean, it's not even a real comparison. It's not a real comparison. So I don't understand why they're freaking out about this. I really don't. I mean, the Afrikaners, you know, are fleeing racially motivated violence. I mean, there's been a lot of, you know, there's been farmers, you know, that have been killed, you know, and a government that's been openly pushing for land seizures without compensation. And in other words, state sanctioned theft based on race. Now, under any normal circumstance, you think that the left would be thrilled about this. Refugees from Africa, they would. That's usually a cause that they could get around. But here's the catch. These refugees happen to be white. And suddenly the tone changes. If these were black people, you know, in a European nation, having their lands taken and they were being killed because of that, and being displaced because of that, I don't think the left would have a problem with it. But because these are white people going through what I just described, they tend to have a problem with it. And this is where the hypocrisy becomes so obvious, it's painful to watch. The same crowd that welcomed waves of illegal immigrants from Latin America, from Haiti, from China, demands asylum for people from countries like Sudan or the DRC, which is the Democratic Republic of Congo, suddenly draws the line at white South Africans. And why? Because they don't check the racial box. You know, and I wanted to point this out, you know, the hypocrisy. I wanted to point the hypocrisy out real quick because I think it's telling. It is. You know, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of Rubio prior to all of this. I really wasn't. And some of it, I wouldn't say, I also wasn't a big detractor of his either. I just didn't know much about the man. I just didn't know much about him. But since he's joined the Trump administration, you know, it seems like something has changed in him. Something has changed in him. And at this point now, he is showcasing himself as, you know, one of my favorite picks at this point, you know, into the presidency, because he has decided that he will not back down. He will not back down from the media, not from the courts, and he definitely is not backing down from these woke Democrats. And I'm all about it. He is a man that right here is standing on his square, and he is pushing the America First agenda that's been given to him by President Trump. I mean, he's been doubling and tripling down on Trump's foreign policy agenda and making no apologies for it. And you know what? I am 100% here for it. And I believe Kathy said this earlier. He is trying to show himself as a capable leader, someone that, you know, is trying to set himself up for a presidential run. It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. I know I'm I know that is something that he's had, in his sights for quite some time. And yeah, so far, so good, man. He's doing a good job. And again, I'm 100% here for him pushing the agenda. And in the meantime, unfortunately, Maryland, we got to take an L because Chris, I don't really know what Chris Van Hollen is fighting for. I really don't. He obviously doesn't care about his constituents that put him in office here in Maryland. And he for daggone sure don't care about the rest of American citizens that he's in the Senate to represent. I really don't know what our friends over on the left are fighting for. I really don't. Illegal immigrants, gang members, foreign students who want to protest and riot. I mean, what the heck is going on over there? It seems like they are on the wrong side of every issue going on in this country right now. I've never seen them fight as hard for us as they do for migrant criminals and for people who are just causing a bunch of chaos, and ruckus on college campuses. I have yet to see them come out and fight for the American people the way that they fight for these folks. And look, at the end of the day, this battle, this was a battle of worldviews. One side believes America should bow down, give handouts, and apologize for defending itself. The other side believes we should stand strong, protect our borders, deport criminals, and put the interests of American citizens first. So shout out to Marco Rubio, man. Shout out to Marco Rubio. The man came in swinging and left Van Hollen and others speechless. And honestly, he embarrassed him. Now, it don't take much to really embarrass these daggone Democrats because they embarrass themselves. But I'm loving what I'm seeing from this administration. And honestly, if this is the energy that Trump's team is bringing in 2025 and beyond, then the future is looking very strong, I might say. It's looking very strong. This is a night and day situation when you compare the previous administration and even when you compare Trump's first administration, during his first term. This is a completely different look. And I'm 100% here for it, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. I appreciate everybody that has supported the channel via super chat, super thanks, so forth and so on. Thank you very much. Appreciate you all supporting the channel. But Dennis, I do agree with you. I am sick and tired of being last on my government's list. Yeah. That's what happened for 4 years last year or the previous administration. American people were kicked to the back burner for people that shouldn't even be here in the first place. Seriously. This administration is handling business. And I'm 100% here for it, man. I love it. What do you guys think, man? How do you guys feel? Let me know in the chat. How do y'all feel about this administration thus far? Are you happy? Do you want to see more? Do you think they're not doing enough? Do you think they're not pushing the America First agenda enough? What are your thoughts? I want to hear from you guys in the chat. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section that are watching the replay. What are your thoughts here? I'm loving what I'm seeing. And you're seeing people show themselves as capable. And they're not backing down. They're not kowtowing to the media. They're not kowtowing to these woke Democrats that are in office, whether it's in the House or in the Senate. They're not bending the knee to anybody. They are standing on business. They are handling business. I love it. Let's keep the show going, man. In other news, we got to keep going. I want to talk about something huge that the media is already trying to spin, twist, or downplay. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about what the media is already trying to spin, twist, and downplay. We got to talk about it. We got a super chat I got to read real quick. Shout out to Amy McClough. McCloe, hopefully I'm pronouncing that, for the $5 super chat says, stay prayed up. Stay prayed up. Does it say? Oh, I'm guessing she's saying I learned from you. Thank you. Also, having a U.S. visa used to be special, and Marco Rubio is bringing it back. I love it. Absolutely. Having a U.S. visa is special. Getting the opportunity to come here and live in America for 4 or 5 years or so and go and gain and get an education, it is special. It is a special thing. Unfortunately, we've had, people in office that, have tried to downplay it, or they've tried to make the country, make everybody in the country feel like they're bad and like this country isn't great, so forth and so on, and they want to downplay it. Voices for the Voiceless said, I love 95% of what the administration is doing. For real, for real. The vibe is different. Feels like America again. Shout out, man. I'm interested. What's the 5% that you don't like? I'm interested. I'm going to open it up for call-ins today. I'd love for you to pull up today. I'd love to hear, the 5% that you don't like. And you get no pushback or heat from me, behind it. I think that everybody has the ability to say, hey, I like things. I don't like certain things. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that as well. I don't think anybody is perfect. I don't think the administration is perfect. And I don't want to hold them to a standard of perfection. I want them to do the best, and I want them to push what we, the people, voted for. And so far, I'm seeing that. But I want to talk about something that the media is already trying to spin, that they're trying to downplay, they're trying to twist. But the facts that they're all right here. They're all there for people to see. Democrat Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, hopefully I'm pronouncing that name properly, from New Jersey, she's just been officially charged for assaulting federal ICE agents during that chaotic illegal protest outside the detention facility out there in Newark. And let me be clear here. This is not some low-level activist. This is a sitting member of the U.S. House of Representatives physically confronting law enforcement on federal property, and it's all on video. I said this last week when we talked about this, when it broke. They got to go to jail. If they got the video, if there's footage of these people putting their hands on ICE agents, they need to be arrested. It's a federal crime, and they need to go to jail. Seriously.
The days of woke, no, I didn't. The days of woke are over. That woman, I have no idea who she is. That woman was out of control. She was shoving federal agents. She was out of control. The days of that crap are over in this country. We're going to have law and order.
Democratic Congresswoman LaMonica McIver is expected to be in court. She's there in the red shirt as investigators say she was shoving and throwing elbows at federal agents. According to court documents, Martha, she grabbed an agent and tried to restrain him, and then she pushed another agent, striking him with her forearm. She's looking at several felony charges, including assault, impeding, and interfering with law enforcement, and could face time behind bars, we're told. It comes after McIver and 2 other Democratic Congress members from Jersey, Robert Menendez Jr. and Bonnie Watson Coldman, decided that they should go to this ICE detention facility in Newark earlier this month. They demanded a tour, but that's not how it works. You have to make an appointment. But DHS says they just pushed their way through the gates, leading to lots of chaos. That same day in that crowd, Newark Mayor Ross Baraka was arrested. Investigators say McIver actually tried to block police from arresting the mayor, circling around him and yelling at the feds. His case has now been dropped, but
shout out to R. Rendales joining the ARP family. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you supporting the channel and supporting me. Thank you very much, man. God bless you. Yeah, she needs to go to jail. She needs to go to jail. And yeah, it's also pretty clear who did it. There's footage. This is a sitting U.S. representative. You're supposed to be setting an example. And yes, Christine, she was completely out of line. She actually got on TV and denied the fact that she did it. I don't know if she had a chance to watch the video, or maybe she didn't even know there was a video out there. But Leslie, I agree with you as well. She should lose her seat in Congress. I do agree. Now, what we do know is that if that were a Republican acting like that, whew, could you imagine? Mainstream media would be foaming at the mouth. MSNBC, they would be demanding prison time. CNN would run wall-to-wall coverage and late-night hosts would be cracking smug little jokes for weeks. But since she's Democrat, since she's black, and she's also a woman, she's got the 3 infinity stones. She's got the 3 infinity stones. She's a Democrat, she's black, and she's a woman. Hey, suddenly, hey, this has to be treated like some political misunderstanding. But hey, let's break it down. So here's what went down. A little over a week ago, we talked about this. McIver joined a group of protesters, including Newark Mayor Ras Baraka. They say his charges was dropped. I'm not 100% sure exactly why his charges were dropped, but his charges were dropped. Democratic Congress member Bonnie Watson Coleman and Rob Menendez at the Delaney Hall ICE detention facility in Newark, New Jersey. The facility had just reopened not too long ago. It ain't been open that long under the Trump administration, and the group was there to protest its operations, accusing DHS of doing so in contravention of local ordinances and without the necessary permits. The protest turned chaotic when a group attempted to breach the facility's gates, leading to a physical altercation with federal agents. Their mission was to barge into the building, inspect the conditions, and let's be honest, the grandstand for the cameras. That's what this was really about. They claimed that they were doing congressional oversight, but let's call it what it is. It was a stunt to demonize ICE and to disrupt their lawful duties. And what did it lead to? It led to chaos, screaming, shoving, and yes, physical altercations, which was caught on video. And McIver was recorded elbowing and pushing ICE agents. Let me repeat that. A U.S. Congresswoman, a sitting U.S. Congresswoman, not somebody that was a former. No, she is a current active sitting U.S. Congresswoman, physically assaulted federal law enforcement on camera. We all saw it. Now ask yourself this. If a Republican has stormed into a Planned Parenthood clinic and shoved federal officers, would they be charged? Would the media call it political or legitimate oversight? You know good and well they'd be charged. You know good and well, and you know the media would run with this. You know they would. They'd be locked up so fast their head would spin. Y'all know it. Now here's where things get interesting. Mayor Ras Baraka was also on the scene. And he was initially charged, with a simple misdemeanor trespassing charge. But now the acting U.S. attorney, Alina Habba, she dropped those charges. And, my only guess is she probably was because the case wasn't worth the political distraction. I mean, it is a misdemeanor, or because they didn't want him playing the victim and using it to boost his governor campaign in New Jersey. I mean, there's a lot of things that play into it when you start talking about politics. So yes, Baraka, he walks, he's out of there, but his charge was a light charge anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's a misdemeanor. Hey, we'll toss that out. But McIver, she refused to cooperate. She was reportedly given multiple opportunities to resolve this issue without charges, but she declined to do so. And now she's been hit with a federal charge of assaulting, impeding, and interfering with law enforcement. So what's her defense? She shifted the blame, accused ICE agents of creating an unsafe environment. You guys got to see this, man. These people will take zero accountability for their actions. Shout out to True Texan with the $2 super chat. We heard about J6 for 2 years or more. What are you talking about 2 years? They still talking about J6. They still talking about J6. And at this point now, man, what was that, 5 years ago? They still ain't let it go.
oversight over a facility, and the entire situation was escalated by ICE. They caused the confrontation. Homeland came and, caused this chaos that we see. It was a very tense situation, but it could have been, easily not. It could have easily not happened. They had every opportunity to not allow this to happen. It was very unnecessary.
Y'all hear this? Let's replay that.
Have oversight over a facility, and the entire situation was escalated by ICE. They caused the confrontation. Homeland came and, caused this chaos that we see. It was a very tense situation, but it could have been, easily not. It could have easily not happened. They had every opportunity to not allow this to happen. It was very unnecessary.
These people are full of it, man. They're full of it. She will not take any responsibility. They escalated. Last time I checked, the mayor, this young lady, and a few others, they pulled up. They pulled up to the facility and tried to barge their way in. Now, those of us that served in the military, when you're standing watch, typically people say they know, hey, there is some protocol here if you want to come through these gates. But if we tell you no, you're not getting through here, and you act like you're going to barge through, oh, it's going to be a problem. And you're going to have everybody that's standing watch on your head. How do you say that ICE escalated when they're just standing there doing their jobs, protecting the facility? You tried to barge in. Now, if they just let you go, their butts are on the line for not doing their job. I mean, this is the classic playbook. When Democrats are caught red-handed, this is a classic playbook of these people. They don't apologize or nothing, man. They don't reflect. They just cry foul. They play the victim, and more often than not, they play the race card. So how are the Democrats reacting to all of this? You guys gotta see this, man. These people are sick. They really are, man. Goodness gracious.
Some breaking news, and we want to ask you about it, but apparently, Alina Habba, who is, what's her job now?
She's the acting.
She's had a couple.
New Jersey, yeah.
She is the interim U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey.
She's acting all right.
She's acting. Well, she has apparently now dismissed charges against Mayor Ras Baraka of Newark, so no longer being charged. He went to court last Thursday, but it is being reported that she has apparently filed charges against New Jersey Congresswoman LaMonica McIver. And I'm wondering your reaction to this news as we're trying to find more information. I don't believe the indictment has been unsealed yet, but our team, NBC News, is efforting to find out. But just your reaction to this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm just learning the news as we all are now. It is chilling. The reason why they're doing this is to shut me and my Democratic colleagues up. They're doing it to make us afraid. It's not going to work. If anything, it will only strengthen our resolve. But make no mistake about it, this is not normal. It is not the sort of thing that happens in a healthy democracy. It is truly chilling. And I would urge all of my colleagues, both Democrats and Republicans, even those Republicans who say one thing in private about Trump, but then never want to say it in public, this should be a time when every member of Congress speaks out.
So just to offer a little bit of context here for anyone who might have not been totally dialed into this story, 3 members of Congress, one of them, full disclosure, my brother, show up at a detention facility in Newark, New Jersey, given their statutory authority to, show up to conduct oversight at these facilities. The mayor shows up. They accuse the mayor of trespassing. The members of Congress are holding on to the mayor. That is fundamentally what it's about. She went to do her job, and they are now saying that she ended up in some scuffle.
Now think about this, man. If you went up there, if you had a family member up there in that facility, and you went up there acting like you gonna barge your way in through ICE agents so you can see how they're living. You just want to make sure that they're being treated properly. And they tell you no, but you act like you just gonna force your way through. You're going to jail. You are going to jail if you do that. If you act like, matter of fact, you go to any detention facility acting a fool, you're going to jail. How do these people think that they're better than the rest of us? Yes, you are a representative. Yes, you are a mayor. But last time I checked, the rules apply to you all as well. Y'all are just American citizens serving the nation in a certain capacity, but yeah, it doesn't give you carte blanche to just do whatever you want to do. If you or I did it, we'd be going to jail. But we also know better. We got some sense. So we wouldn't do something like that because we know if you do, you're going to jail. And I don't think any of us have time to be going to nobody's jail. What makes this story so infuriating is the blatant double standard. It's the blatant double standard. When conservatives protest, we're told to sit down and shut up. When Trump supporters even breathe near federal law enforcement, they're hunted, arrested, and thrown in solitary confinement. But when Democrats put their hands on agents, they just barge through like they own the place. The media calls it congressional oversight. They called it congressional oversight. And here's the part that's just so ridiculous. It's all on camera. This isn't the he said, she said situation. It's all on camera. We can see it. This isn't about some vague interpretation of events. We've got the footage. You can literally see MacIver shoving ICE agents, pushing through barricades, and creating a scene. You can see it. And now they want us to believe that he's a victim of a political witch hunt. These people are obscene, man. They're absurd. They really are. They are absurd. For 4 years, the left told us over and over and over and over that no one is above the law. For 4 years, they told us that. For 4 years, they told us over and over again that no one is above the law. And now that it's one of theirs facing justice, let's see if they still believe that. Let's see if they still feel that way, because I've said it before and I'll say it again. We don't need performative activism from politicians. We don't need rage-filled stunts outside ICE facilities. What we need is law and order. We need to respect the men and women who protect our borders and enforce our laws. Simple as that. And if you don't like it, if you think ICE is evil, if you think America shouldn't have immigration laws, if you think you can put your hands on federal agents and get away with it, then maybe you don't belong in Congress. Simple as that. If you truly believe those things that I just said, you do not belong in Congress. And she should be prosecuted. This MacIver individual should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law for her actions. An example must be made. And the reality of it is this: what type of example are you setting for the rest of Americans out here? If you're fighting for a cause that's Democrat led, it's okay, we'll get you off. But if you're fighting for a cause that leans more on the conservative side, sorry, you're going to solitary confinement. What type of example, what type of precedence is being set here? Seriously. I'm gonna drop a link in the chat here. Anybody that want to pull up and speak today, I'd love to hear from you guys. I'm gonna drop this link here in the chat. Give me 1 second. But I'd love to hear from you guys if anybody would like to pull up this morning. Shout out to missed that one. Kiwan Lynette with the $5 super chat. Isn't it ironic that there was a little outrage when abortion clinic protesters were jailed, yet this ICE situation is unacceptable? It's ungodly. You're absolutely right. Oh, little outrage. I don't even know if there were any outrage when that happened. And those people got the book thrown at them. And thank you, Kiwan, for the super chat. Thank you very much. We'll drop this link here. I'm going to pin it up top for you guys. Link is pinned. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Anybody that would like to pull up Playboy Billy, I'd love to hear from you today if you feel up to it. That'll be my last time asking you. Hey, Lori, absolutely. Beverly got the book thrown at her. Had it not been for the Trump pardon, she'd still be in prison right now, in a federal prison right now. That is the truth. Make sure you all hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. Please make sure you hit that like button for me. Super chats will stop the show. Super thanks will stop the show. Thank you, everybody that supported the show. Voice for the voiceless, man. I'd love for you to pull up if you have the ability to do so. Hit that link there. It's in the chat. We got my guy Playboy Billy. Oh, what's up, Playboy Billy? How you doing today, brother? Looks like you're muted. We got a sound issue going on. I can't hear you. We can't hear you. Nope, we still can't hear you. I'm gonna kick you back out and then try to come back in. There you go. What's up, LJ Taylor? How you doing this morning? What's up, Crystal? How you doing this morning, sister? Hope all is well with you. But I do have the link for anybody that would like to pull up. I'd love to hear from you guys. All right, I think we got him. Hopefully his audio is good. What's going on, Playboy Billy? How you doing this morning, brother? Still can't hear you. Still can't hear you. Goodness gracious. Nope, still can't hear you. Double check your device and make sure you got your microphone on. I'm guessing you're on your phone. Double check your device. There you go. There you go.
Now,
We can
can
hear
you
now.
hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, I had my damn
Outstanding.
speaker on. Had my speaker on, forgot to turn it off.
All right.
So how you been, brother?
You good now? I'm doing well, man. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, brother. So, man, did you hear about those kids down in, I think it was California? They set up a drug deal with a guy, and then a 13-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 17-year-old, an 18-year-old, a 22-year-old, and a 23-year-old set that guy up, met with him, shot him, killed him, and he was still in his car, ended up screaming down the street and taking some guy out on his electric bike and shoving him clear into a house next door.
Oh my goodness. Hold up.
I mean,
kids setting up a drug deal?
Yeah, it was a drug deal gone bad.
Wow.
I mean, these
what was the age? You said, repeat those ages again for me.
One was 13, one was 15, one was 17, one was 18, 22, and 23. And it was 2 girls, 4 guys, and one of the girls had their 3-year-old baby with them, plus their 4-year-old.
Wow.
I mean, I'm just,
How many people does it take to set up a drug deal?
I don't get where this country's going. If we don't stop this soon, it's going to be like, man, I just don't know. I mean, yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We got a lot of craziness going on up here too. And it's a lot of the kids. There's a lot of kids committing some pretty heinous acts in this day and age, more than it was when I was growing up. Not to say that we didn't have some situations, but it seems like it's a lot more. I know out in the DC area, you got young kids, they doing carjackings. I know out here in Baltimore, there was some carjackings from some young teenagers. One actually was shot by an old guy shot him. And of course, everybody comes out and was like, oh, he was such a good kid, but he's out there carjacking. And was ended up, being, shot and killed, by an old guy to try to make the old guy seem like he was the bad guy when he's just protecting himself. But yeah, it's a lot of craziness going on.
What's crazy is the 13-year-old was on an ankle monitor. He wasn't even supposed to be out of the house.
He wasn't even supposed to be out the house. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And then the other 2 young men, the 17 and 18-year-old, They were both on probation. And it's just crazy, 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 crazy. We got to figure out something that's going to help these kids because we have left our kids behind. And it's unfortunate because spare the rod, spoil the child. I mean, God nailed that one to the wall with that comment.
Yes, he did. Well, unfortunately, we have less and less people growing up in churches. We have less and less
Yes.
people believing that the word of God is true and that God's design works.
Yes.
We have more and more children being born out of wedlock, and that's in all demographics across this country, race-wise. And we're
Yep.
seeing what happens when broken families persist. We're seeing the chaos that comes from these broken families. And you're seeing it, you know, I mean, I think the black community was the social experiment, but we're seeing it more and more, you know, in white communities. We're seeing it in Hispanic communities. We're seeing it play itself out throughout this country. That's just like a video I put out yesterday, you know, about, you know, the feminism and how demonic, you know, the feminism move was. And here we are
Yes, it was a
today,
good video.
you know, with more kids being born out of wedlock, and that's of all races. You have women out there that say that they don't need men. They would rather have a kid than a man and a nuclear family. And it's not a good thing.
Well,
It's just not a good thing.
it. The reason they want the kid isn't for the family. It's not for the kid. It's for the opportunity to get on government aid because
Yeah.
they know once they have that kid,
that
they're
and
set
they can
up.
run the man and they can run the man through the mud. You know what I'm saying? Keep his behind in court every 6 months or every year, getting that raise in child support. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, see, they don't want the father in the house because then they get less money from the government, first of all.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
second of all, they can't get child support. So as soon as they can
Yeah.
get the man out of the family, they get a double dip in the paycheck.
Well, I'll say this, Playboy. I've said this for a while. I kind of got in trouble. Some women got upset with me when I said this, but I'm gonna say it here on this platform. I personally think that we need to get rid of all of the government assistance, unless you are a senior citizen or a disabled individual that needs help. Disabled individual really can't get out there and get it for themselves. Outside of that, no one else gets assistance. I'm also a firm
Amen,
believer.
brother.
I think we also need to get rid of child support unless you were married to that man. If you were not married to
Exactly.
that man, you get no
Yep.
child support. And guess what will happen?
Yep.
If you eliminate the quote unquote social safety net, and
Yep.
you can't just run men through the mud because you just decided that, hey, oh, he looks like he's got a little bit of money. Let me go have a kid by him and get all the assistance that I can get. If you cut
Yep.
that out, it would stop. I'm not gonna say
Well,
it would
you
come
heard
to a
it.
complete halt, but it would those numbers would decrease
Exactly. Yep.
tremendously.
Exactly. Well, there was a lady the other day that went and convinced some guy that she wanted to have a baby and she just wanted him to be the sperm donor, right? So she gets pregnant and then she starts talking to his mother, his aunt, and saying how she wants him to be involved with the baby and all this stuff, when all he was supposed to be was the sperm donor, a quick one night stand so she could have a baby. Then
Nope.
she ends up taking him to court and getting
Course.
child support from him.
Of
This
course.
guy
Of
ends up
course.
paying child support to the tune of $50,000 a year.
Mm.
And then halfway through the second year, he suspected something wasn't right. So he goes and gets a DNA test done on the baby. Come to
Kid ain't
find
his.
out, it was another man's baby who was married, and he ended up. So the court, and this is BS, man. So the court system relieved him from child support and all responsibility that way, but the government wouldn't take his name off the kid's birth certificate.
Now, once you sign that birth certificate, at least, because a lot of times, once you sign the birth certificate, that kid is yours. And before you go, shout out to Crystal with the $5 super sticker. And let me clarify something real fast. If you, I know there's, and Q1 says, really, what about the deadbeat dads? I want to put that out there. I want to say this. Yes, there are deadbeat dads. They are out there. But what I'm saying is that women do have the decision, the ability to decide if they get pregnant or not. I think we can all, agree with that. And typically they they give access to sex as well. I think we know this. If you marry this man and you have your children in wedlock, in a marriage, if that man decides to leave, that man's got to take care of his family. He is responsible for taking care of his family. Or if she decides to leave. I think that in that situation, in the confines of a marriage, yes, child support should be paid. It should be paid. I think any man that's not taking care of his family, you got to do it. You got to do it. But I'm talking about the incentive of women just out here having kids by dudes that is not your husband, and these dudes aren't right. There's plenty of women out here that are having children by dudes that he's already got 3 or 4 kids that he don't take care of right now, and he didn't take care of those kids. I don't understand why you thought that your situation was going to be different. He is a deadbeat. He shows you he was that when you met him, or maybe he didn't. Exactly. But if you wait until you get married to do so, I'd be okay with it. I'm just saying that social safety net of, I made a mistake and this, that, and the third. Nah, you don't get that. You don't get that. Yeah. Shout out to Jeff with the $11 super chat. Randy Watson said it best. I believe the children are our future. But seriously, when LBJ told America the government will replace dads, it was over. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. That's been one of the worst things to happen in our country. Yep. That's been one of the worst things that happened in our country. And the thing is that if we get to a point to where, you only get government assistance if you are a disabled veteran, if you are a disabled person, or are senior citizens, because I think that those 3 categories of people, those are people that we should take care of. I personally, as someone, I don't have a problem taking care of those people. But if you're able-bodied and you're just out here willy-nilly being reckless with your body, no, we shouldn't be taking care of you. We should not be taking care of your children. We shouldn't.
And that's the unfortunate part. Is so nowadays it's so easy to not be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
You can go out on Friday, get hammered drunk, go to bed with somebody, wake up the next morning and be pregnant, and it's okay. They act like it's not a big deal. And it's like the Lord said, it's a man, a woman in a relationship, in a, what's the word I'm looking for? Relationship's the closest I can come right now, but you know what I'm saying. There's supposed to be a bond there. The marriage, it's all, that's why they consider it evil to be having sex out of wedlock.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and somebody said it, Israel Pena, and yes, widows and widowers. I don't have a problem, supporting them for a bit if need be.
Oh no,
to get on their feet. But that's in the confines of a marriage. That's in the covenant. And I think Dion mentioned it. The covenant of marriage is, I think, where you were going with it.
Yeah.
But I'm with that. I'm okay with that. But we have to stop incentivizing people to be out here, fornicating and doing all these things. We got to stop incentivizing bad behavior. And we actually need to incentivize good behavior.
That the new Trump plan to give $5,000 per child and put $1,000 in a mega fund for them for school.
Yeah,
I love it.
I like that too. I like that idea.
I've got a problem. if you're not in a marriage, I don't think you should get it.
I
I
agree with
don't
that.
think that these people out here just popping kids out. There was a lady I seen the other day, 9 kids, and not one of the fathers involved. And she was screaming at her phone, telling Trump he could go F himself and all this other stuff. I'm never going back to work. You can't take me off my food stamps. I've been living this way for 18 years. You ain't never going to take my shit away. And it's like, look here, lady. If you're not in a relationship, in a married relationship with the father, no, you shouldn't be getting food stamps. You shouldn't be getting, if you can play the game like that, then you can pay the game.
Yeah,
It's like no
absolutely.
pain, no gain. And we're never going to teach them unless we start putting their nose in their crap and saying, hey, you just shit on the floor. Don't do that again. I'm going to rub your nose in it and make an example out of it. And you're not going to do it again.
Yeah. Well, it would, if we did that, it would deter a lot of women, because there's a lot of young women out there that say, I can just go get on the system. You know,
Exactly.
if you actually started making people pay for their poor choices, it would deter people from, it would deter others from making it. Be like, man, I see how tough they have it. I see how hard
Exactly.
it is on them. I don't want that life.
Yep.
You know, and we need to do that. We need to incentivize marriages. We definitely
But
do.
when you're getting $4,000 in food stamps, your electric's paid, your house is paid.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's no incentive to keep your legs closed. There's no incentive to not be playing around on the weekend. It's like Satan has got his claws in deep. And, you know, it's unfortunate, but the Lord told us when we came here, he lost a third of the host of heaven when he came up with the idea of bringing us here. And he said when judgment day came, he was already have gonna lost another third of the host of heaven to the evilness of the world. And I mean, you just got to realize this is not going to be an easy situation. We came to hell. I mean, the Bible says this place is worse than hell. So think about that. I mean, if if we're living in something worse than hell right now, which it is. I mean, think about it. Satan. I mean, he's running rampant with drugs. He's running. None of that stuff exists on the other side. Those are all pleasures of the flesh. And that's just the way I feel about it. It's like, what, you think that they're going to be smoking crack and heroin in hell? Sorry, it doesn't exist.
I hope not. But it
That's
could
why,
be.
well, that's why there's
You
going to
know.
be weeping and gnashing of teeth, because all their habits that they have here, they're not going to be able to pleasure themselves on the other side with them because they don't exist.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
all
Or
the
numb
pleasures of the
yourself.
flesh that
Yeah.
we're paying for right now. I mean, we came here for one thing, and that was our bodies, and to learn how to make our mind, our soul, and our bodies work as one. That's the whole reason we came here. It wasn't to be rich, it wasn't to be famous. It was to gain our bodies. And God made us in his own image, male
Mm-hmm.
and female.
Yeah. I got a chat here from Yolanda. She disagrees with you slightly. She says, no, Billy, it is, this is not worse than hell. Hell is eternal separation from God. So there's still hope on earth. And I do agree with her, you know, in that
Well,
sentiment.
to a point. But you got to realize, God said that he was locking the gates of hell for 1,000 years, okay, after Judgment Day. So in that 1,000 years, you still have a chance to repent and find your way to God. So if you are suffering in hell, people like me, I'll go down to hell and preach the word of God. I'll go down there and see if I can't save some people during that 1,000 years. So you're not condemned until after that last 1,000 years where hell's gates have been locked. And once you go through
Where's
the
that at?
last 1,000 years and you
Where is that
don't
at in
change
the
your
Bible?
mind, well, it's over, yeah. And
Where is that at
then
in the
hell
Bible? I
will
don't
be
think I've
worse
read
than
that.
this. What's that, brother?
I said, where's that at in the Bible? I haven't read that one. Is that in
Well,
Revelations
after the
or
days of
Revelation?
judgment, God says that he is going to lock the gates of hell for 1,000 years, and his people will be free for 1,000 years of any sin, which means we're going to live in paradise for 1,000 years. And then after the 1,000 years, I mean, it's not like he came right out and said it, but if you read the Bible and you go through and you cross-reference what words mean and you look into it, and that's the problem. So many people just read the Bible and that's all they do. They just look at the Bible. Oh, this says this says that. It must be the way it is. No, if you go back and you research what words mean and follow what Christ was teaching, I mean, it's not easy. It takes time. I mean, I've been studying the Bible my whole life. I was raised in the LDS church, and I don't know if anybody knows what that means. It means
That's the Church of
Church of
Latter-day Saints, right?
Latter-day Saints.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Basically,
I'm familiar.
what most people call Mormons.
Got you. Okay. Got you.
But if you
All
go
right.
look at our church signs, nowhere on our sign, nowhere in our teachings do we claim to be Mormons. The reason that whole thing came around was because when the church first started, we had some plagues in the church that had more than one wife. And before Joseph Smith got killed, they had nicknamed the church Mormons. Not the church, but the people that hated the church named us that. You see what I'm saying?
Got you. Understood.
So it's not like, and as soon as the church got to Salt Lake and got straightened out and actually had a place, they excommunicated all those people. They threw them out. Well, now if you go down to southern Utah, there's a place called Colorado City, and that's where the plagues moved to after being excommunicated from the church. And I mean, if you look at the LDS religion, it flat bars polygamy. It does. You are not allowed to have more than one wife. That's against God's rules. That's why in the beginning we excommunicated all those thousands of people.
Got you. Okay. Well, Playboy, I appreciate you pulling up, man. I got a couple other people to get to, but I always appreciate you pulling up, man. Thank you very much, man. God bless you.
God bless you, Wes. Have a great day.
Thanks, man. Take care. Shout out to Aaron over at the Freeman's Network. He says the largest demographic of government assistance in the United States is white Caucasian, not black Americans. Sorry, guys. I thought everybody knew that. You know, and the lady that he was talking about, you know, with the kids and getting all the money, I think she is a white lady. I think we all know this, and I don't care, you know, what the race of people is. Hey, if you own a system and you're able-bodied, get a job and get off the system. I think it needs to go. Let's bring my guy Steven up in. What's going on with you, brother? How you doing today?
Hey, man, how you doing? You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine, man. Appreciate you pulling up this morning.
Absolutely,
appreciate you pulling up. It's been a little bit since we had you on the show, but how you doing,
yeah,
man?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Actually, I just finished my app, man. And, it's crazy to say that. I just finished my app, my website and everything. I got everything up and live and everything. I have a meeting actually at noon with a law firm looking for investors and stuff like that. So it's all up. Yep.
That's what's up. What kind of app is it? What is it?
It's an event app. Think of it as a social media that meets event, not quite like Meetup. So basically the difference in what it is as opposed to Meetup is when you create the event, it gives you real live data, so real live feed. Meetup doesn't do that. All you can do is do like RSVPs, and you can see like what's happening with the events, but it doesn't let you know who's actually there. It doesn't really give you a social aspect to it. So what my app does is it gives you real live feed data on what's going on with the event that's happening at that moment. The users can create it, and there's a bunch more stuff that I want to do with it. I'm gonna keep that close to the chest right now. I'm trying to give you
Understood.
the small
Yeah,
version right
just the
now.
bride. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got you.
So
I like it.
basically, I came up with the concept because I used to travel for work all the time. And I like to play basketball, and I will always go to different gyms, different courts all around the country. And you know, each city, each state, you know, they have their own courts that they like to go to, their own gyms that they like to go to, and they usually play at, you know, different times and stuff. So when you would pull up to one of these gyms or one of these, you know, courts or something, it was always a hit or miss. And I'm like, man, it would be dope if I had an app that would let me know where all the best runs are.
Like, hey,
And
this
that's
is where the hoopers are. Yeah, I
yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so this is how this was born. And then I went to a tech conference. I was like, oh crap, I could do this with anything. So again, I don't want to give too much information away right now because I'm still trying to, you know, work out things. Right now I'm the sole proprietor of it all, and we're gonna see what happens, man. So hopefully you'll be hearing from it soon. It's called Gaggle.
That's awesome. That's awesome,
Yeah.
man. That is awesome, man. I love it. I love the
Yeah.
idea. I have a tech background myself. I worked, you know, for tech companies, man, for like 15 years. I know a
Yeah,
lot of
man.
engineers and all that type of stuff. I was in that space. That's awesome, man. That's a great idea too. Because when I moved out here to Maryland, I'm a little older now, but when I first moved out here, I was like you. I hoop a lot, man. I used to play ball all the time, and at that time frame, you kind of got to ask around, like, hey, where the hoopers at? Like,
Exactly.
where can you go? And you would
Exactly.
find out, like, oh, they're over here, you know, Dorsey Road on this day. You know, you can go out to
Exactly.
Pasadena on this
Exactly.
day. You could go here, but there wasn't a place that you could go and say, okay, hey, this is where all the information is consolidated, and this is where you could go. You just didn't know, and you had to kind of figure out
Exactly.
and guesstimate the times. Eventually, you would learn it, but that's awesome, man.
Exactly.
I love that idea. I
And
love it.
that's just the base form, man. I like it's been evolving in my head for the last 2 years. So that right there was the initial concept. What I have in store for it is it's going to take some things to the next level if I can make it happen the right way. So, but
That's
yeah,
good,
man.
man.
So
I love it.
I'm good to go. I'm good to go. So, but yeah, I didn't
I
want
love
to
it.
take too much of your time, man. I wanted to bring up a
No
couple
worries.
things. I've been in and out of the show today because I had some errands to run, so I haven't really paid attention to the show. But there was something that I wanted to bring up, and let me address this first. You said that for assistance, you said disabled veterans,
Yeah,
older people.
disabled veterans, disabled people in
Uh-huh.
general, like if there's
Uh-huh.
anybody disabled, older senior citizens, and those were the three, you know, that, you know, I would throw on there to say, hey, those are the people that I really, really think that, because they need it. They need the
Yeah.
assistance. I don't have a problem with us, you know, and my taxpayer dollars going towards taking care of those types of people. But yeah,
I
that
would
was my
like to throw
thoughts.
one more demographic in there. One more
Go for it.
college with no support, no like parents that's really helping them or anything like that. Because I went through that, man. I had to put
You
myself
said
through
children?
college, and college kids that don't have no
Oh, okay,
support.
college kids.
You,
Okay,
that
got you.
don't have support, because you know, if you don't have that support, if you don't have your parents taking care of you or whatever to get you through college or whatever, your experience is going to be completely different. Now, I was lucky enough, I went to the military and I was able to pay for most of my college with that. But my
Yeah.
experience was still completely different than a typical kid, because I didn't have no family support or anything like that. I had to put, I was playing football, I was working a part-time job, and I was in the military in the reserves at the time. So I didn't really get to like live my college life. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, but I mean, college, in my opinion, isn't about the party. It's the stepping stone to,
that's
you
what
know,
I
gain
mean.
the skill
That's
set
not
that's needed to get your life in order. But I understand what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. I don't know
I'm talking about
how
just to be
you
able to just to be
Now,
able
I
to
think
focus.
anybody that comes from a foster care, like if you came from foster care, like and you were never adopted and you came through a foster care program, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem helping those people because we know for sure that those
Yeah,
kids don't have any support.
yeah,
The kids that
yeah,
come, because a lot of times they turn 18 and then they just kind of get tossed out there, and tossed to the
exactly.
wind. So I wouldn't have a problem with anybody that's, foster care but you got to be foster care, graduate high school, and actively trying to be a productive citizen, meaning
Yeah,
you're going to trade school or, you're going to try to go to college, something along
yeah,
those lines. I wouldn't necessarily have a problem supporting those people.
yeah, yeah. Just that demographic, as long as it as their backgrounds match what if they needed the actual help, and not and not for parties, but to be able to actually focus on school, and you ain't got to worry, because when you at that age and you don't know much about the world and you got to go out, you got to get a job to support yourself. School kind of, it becomes on the back burner sometimes because you're more worried about survival than you are at school. I'm talking about those
Yeah,
types of kids. So
I do
but
understand
the
that. Now,
main
for me, as a before you go, as
Mhm.
someone who was a manager who hired people out of college some years back, what I did learn is that the people that make the best employees, and I'm just thinking about the percentages, are people who did actually work while they were in college. People
Mhm.
who had also
Mhm.
had a military background. For
Mhm.
whatever reason, I'm not gonna say for whatever reason, those types of people, because a lot of times you hire these kids fresh out of college, mom, dad been taking care of everything, or in your suggestion, the government's gonna take care of everything for them. When they get into the workforce, they hadn't built any real responsibility. They haven't built that,
That's
and I think
fair.
that is something that is important. Now, as somebody that has hired people, because we used to hire entry level people, fresh out of college, and I would ask, hey, did you at least work a job? I don't care if it was on the weekends. I don't care. Maybe
Yeah.
it was over the summer. I don't care. Did you work a job?
Yeah.
Did you, because I want to know that you know how to get up to work, get up and go to work on time, that you know how to, deal with bosses and managers, like because there's a lot of kids that they get sheltered and then all of a sudden they get into the workforce, and now somebody like myself, who is now your manager, I ain't here to babysit you. I got my own things going on. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I do think
Yeah.
that maybe we subsidize it to an extent. You know what I'm
That's what I
saying? Like
mean.
trying to
That's what
shelter
I
people,
mean.
but some form of subsidization. But yeah, but go ahead.
That's what I mean, because most of them jobs that them kids is gonna have is probably gonna be like retail or something like that.
Yeah,
Something
it's
that's
gonna be a
not
little
gonna
lower
pay the
level job. Yeah,
yeah, it's
it's not
not
gonna
gonna
pay
be
a lot,
paying the
but
bills.
you're
Yeah.
gonna build. But it does help to build some character, and it does help to give you some experience in the workforce and how to handle and how to deal with. Because you got to think, and you know this. When you were in the military, like I was, when you come out of boot camp and you come out of school, you get tossed into an environment where now you're the young person and you're in a shop
Yeah.
full of
Yeah.
adults with wives and children and things of that nature,
Yeah.
and they force you to grow up. They almost force you
Yeah.
to get on their level. That's a lot of reason why, like, we would go home and you'd be around your friends or people your age, and you'd be like, man, they immature as all get out, because you're just not used to being around that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I personally, I wouldn't have a problem, hey, join the military.
Yeah. Well,
That would solve a lot of those problems as well. But go for it.
yeah, but the military ain't for everybody. You know that. You
It
know
ain't for
that.
everybody. You're right.
It's
I
not
know.
for everybody. So the main thing I wanted to talk to you about was all right, so like the whole reparations thing, right? Like
Okay.
I'm in kind of in the middle of the road with it, because so here's the thing. My first thing that I think would entice Republicans is, or not Republicans, but just people who are against like reparations for the Black community, right? Is the first thing is, if you do it from that day on, there are no more excuses. There are no more excuses. You want to talk about, oh, well, the hood is so hard and everything like that. Stop it. We paid you. You want to talk about, oh, it's systematic, racism, blah, blah, blah. It's holding me back. Stop it. We paid you. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of that ends because the whole victimhood, and because I think you were talking about it, a couple other people were talking about like Anton Daniels and stuff like that, because the big thing right now is like Black fatigue and stuff like that. And I get it, because
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in that, you know what I'm saying? And I
I
understand
did
what
too.
that, yeah. So, and I'm sick of it. I'm absolutely sick of it. Like, obviously, that's not the, like we always like to say, being black is not a monolith and whatnot. And we're not all like that. Even a lot of us who actually grew up in that, right? Hold on, let me close my door.
While he's doing that, shout out to Crystal Beyond Labels with the $5 super chat. She says she loves the current administration. Promises made, promises kept. Thank you very much, sister. Appreciate the $5 super chat. Thank you very much.
So, you know, like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing us, you know, humiliating ourselves. It's getting worse because, you know, obviously the black family nucleus has broken down a lot. And, you know, a lot of people like to say, you know, in regards to that, well, you guys shouldn't get reparations because that's what welfare and stuff like that was reparations. And to me, because I feel like that was a fair trade. Like y'all were just talking about LBJ and what he said, how he was going to say the government was going to be the daddy for everybody, and especially you said it with the black experiment and everything. It's like, oh yeah, that was a fair trade because LBJ said it. We're going to give these people this stuff, and then they're going to vote for us for the next 60 years. Well, that's exactly what happened. And look at where we're at. You know, we got screwed over, and that's what the vote blew no matter who came into the black community. So they got their fair trade with that. That wasn't reparations. To me, that was a fair trade-off. And we got manipulated into it. The other reason why I think it is because I just think that there's a bill that needs to be paid for Jim Crow, for slavery, and all of that. It's like, okay, none affected by slavery, right? But a 400-year head start is still a 400-year head start, no matter what people want to say about it. It has had effects on generation after generation after generation that has led up to us. And I think that a lot of the reason why we have like a lot of this BS in our mindset is because of that. And I can prove it because I'm light skinned, right? And black people still have an issue. They always like to scream and talk about racism and everything, but we still have a colorism problem in this country, and we have my entire life. So that's been just in the past 30 some years. So where did that come from? Where did that come from?
You get no argument, no pushback from me on that.
It came from slavery, right? That's an argument that came from slavery. The house Negro versus the field Negro, and guess what, Wise? My dad is as dark as you. My mom is brown skinned. I can't go back 3 generations. My grandparents are all black. I can't go back 3 generations and find a white person. I just look like this. So
the crazy thing is that my grandmother is brighter than you are. It is crazy. It just happens like that. But before you keep going, I want to say this.
Exactly.
My issue, and on Monday when I discussed the reparations, it wasn't a discussion for or against. What my discussion was when it came to reparations on Monday was the manipulation, the use of reparations that they have zero intent on passing to wrangle people back onto the Democrat plantation. My argument on Monday wasn't for or against it. It was actually just for the manipulation that we're seeing from these Democrats to wrangle black people back onto the Democrat plantation when they have zero interest in actually passing anything. Think about this, man. Here in Maryland, they just had the reparation bill. It got to the governor's desk. Governor Moore, a black person, a black man, he vetoed the bill. Same thing happened out in California. They got people all up in a tizzy. They got the bill, gets all the way to the governor's house, vetoes the bill. And the same thing is going to happen with the bill that Summer Lee and Ayanna Pressley and all of them, this is just a way for them to get black people minds wrapped up in this reparation conversation. And what I was talking about on Monday was the fact that when you think about the millionaires in America, 93% of millionaires in America are first generation and self-made. 93%. No inheritances, none of that type of stuff. 93%. And the reality of it is, I know social media, people look at that and they think all these people got money and all these white people got all this money. It's not true. It's not true. When you look at the data, The average wage in America right now is like $63,000 a year. That's the average wage in America right now, today, in 2025.
Yeah.
Only 18% of Americans make over $100,000 a year. Only 18%. Out of that 18%, 6% are black people that make up $100,000 a year. So when people say like, oh, it's a 400-year head start, or when they say like, oh, all these people, they got all this money, everybody broke. Nobody's got money like that for real. And you got a small subset of people who make a lot of money. And the other issue, before you go, when you think about the black community and you look at history, when you look at prior to that LBJ bill that was signed, prior to that, the actual wealth gap was actually decreasing. It was decreasing. We owned businesses. We owned all types of things in the city, banks, insurance companies, you name it. Black people were owning them. The other thing is that Booker T. Washington, I don't know if you've read anything from Booker T. Washington. So when people say, systemic racism is the position that we're in, I disagree with that at this point. I disagree with that just based off of history. When you look at after slavery, when you look at after the Emancipation Proclamation, and you look at the fastest group of people to ever go from illiterate to literate in the history of mankind that happened in this country amongst black people. When you start talking about the most married people, the most, births that were within the confines of a marriage, black people, that was 85% prior to LBJ signing that bill in the late 60s, right? So when people say, oh, the situation that we're in is systemic, no, the situation that we're in is a choice. We chose government, mainly our women chose government over what was actually working. And that ain't got nothing to do with slavery, because when you think about the 100 years, 1865 to 1965, you're talking about the most married and the most children born within the confines of a marriage. There was no out of wedlock births like that. It's not something that happened that often during that time frame. And people will say like, oh, the redlining and Jim Crow, that is true. But even with that redlining, a lot of those black folks that lived on that other side of the track, they owned those homes. They did do that. They owned those homes. So when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, when you think about it, is it really a systemic thing, or is it a situation where we actually made some poor choices? No different than what happened when the debates that were happening between Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois in the early 1900s, when that debate was, do we go the trade route and start our business and assimilate that route, or do we go in there and cowtailing and trying to bend the knee or bend over backwards and beg these people for some trinkets or some handouts? Which one was the better situation? And the better situation was Booker T. Washington's. And that's already been proven.
Yeah.
But my argument on Monday, it wasn't about reparations. It really wasn't. It was about the use of it from Democrats to wrangle black people back because they feel like they are losing that stranglehold that they have on our community.
No, and I wasn't actually addressing that point that you made on Monday. It's just, this has been a talking point for ever, but more so lately because of like black fatigue and stuff like that. So I've been hearing it. So I just I actually wanted to get your perspective on it more so as to why you may or may not go that way. And I will rebuttal a little bit with you're absolutely right. And like pre-segregation and stuff like that, or I mean pre-desegregation, stuff like that, I do feel like the black family nucleus was much more intact. However, I still think that regardless of what the great argument that you just put together with what was working for us and how it was working for us, there was still obviously a dedicated injustice that was done towards black people since the inception of this country, whether it was slavery, whether it was Jim Crow, whether it was, LBJ and his stuff, and then the whole crack epidemic and messing with the hoods and the redlining and creating that environment. It's been a focused attack, in my opinion, and I just think that there's a bill that needs to be paid. I'm not saying that black people haven't made terrible decisions and terrible choices, because we have. And those decisions and those choices are not even manifesting anymore. They're in front of us. And I think that we need to absolutely, I mean, the culture is terrible. You know, our women are going crazy, not our women that still got the sense about them, but the ones that, you know, I mean, just look at the situation with Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. This man clearly did not shoot this woman. And yet you got all these hyenas out here still defending this chick, no matter what the evidence says, they don't care about the fact that Kelsey pleaded the fifth and didn't want to incriminate herself. They don't care that it was her gun. They don't care that his DNA wasn't found on. They don't care that the witness said that the fight was between the girls and the flashes. We don't care about the stuff that matters anymore. And I think that this is all a product of that. And so when I
do have a question to ask you. I do understand, and a lot of people feel they feel exactly the way you feel, and they talk about the debt. But I have a question. The plight that we see that's going on in some of these communities, because a lot of us, we got it. You got it, obviously, I got it. We understand and we're making it. Do you think money solves the cultural issues?
No.
Do you think money would solve it?
No, and that's not the point. I don't think that money was solved, because I think that if the reparations that were to be given were to be calculated into what, you know, 40 acres and a mule would be today, whatever that number would be, right? I don't think it's going to fix nothing. That's not the point. The point is, like how South Africa did, right? They came out and they said, this is happening. We cannot deny it no more. This is happening. We're going to move forward from this point. And however that looks is how it looks, because you look at it now and it's descending into chaos over there. My point is, you pay it, and like I said with the original thing, you pay it. There is no, all that victimhood stuff is over. The bill has been paid. We can move forward from there. It's an access point that I feel like you don't get to say this no more. And we have to, we're almost forced to move forward if that bill is paid. I don't think the money is going to fix it, because there's a lot of us who are financially illiterate. There's a lot of us who put our finances into a bunch of stupid stuff. There's a lot of us that will probably, that money will probably lead to their demise. That's their problem.
Yes, it would. And I think that's the big issue. The other thing too is that, you know, when you look at the census, the U.S. Census from 1830, during that time frame, the U.S. Census of 1830, there were over 300,000 free Black people in America during the 1830 census. Now, this is supposed to be during the height of slavery, but there were over 300,000 free Black people. Of those 300,000 free Black people, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was maybe 12,000 of them actually owned slaves. They owned plantations through South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia.
Yeah.
So when you look at that, you say, if you trace your lineage back to one of those families, do they pay?
No.
The other thing.
Oh yeah.
The other thing is
they
that
pay.
do they pay?
Yeah.
You know. And then the other thing is that the other thing with that too is that
they gotta pay too.
Is the other thing that we have going on in this country is because we're so racially diverse within this country.
Yeah.
It only takes 2 generations to actually flip a race of people. And I know this to be true. It only takes 2 generations. Prime example, my nephew is biracial. He just had a kid with a white woman. That baby looks 100% white. Now, granted fact, he can say, my grandfather is Black. So then you go in and you say, hey, there is a family of white people out there that could say my great-great-great-great-grandfather is a slave, or was a slave, not is, but was. You know what I'm saying? And you will have, I think a lot of the issue is, are we going to base it off of, is it based off of lineage? Is it going to be based off of, the type of hue? Because there's a lot of Black folks out there that you're going to be able to trace your lineage back to some slave owner, back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's got to be lineage.
You're going to be able to trace it. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of issues there, but the biggest issue that I see, and some folks will say systemic. I think some of it is self-inflicted. When they put the drugs in the community, you didn't have to, the folks that took up the mantle and say, hey, we'll sell these drugs and we'll make this money and we'll destroy our communities. They didn't have to do that. Yeah, we know that the government did, play a role in it, but they didn't have to. They made a choice to get the fast bread. They made a choice. It's a choice.
Now,
You know what I'm
that,
saying? And I
can I rebuttal on
you know,
that?
yeah, go for it.
I agree. I agree with that. However, like when I think about things like that, I think about like, look at who killed Malcolm X. It was us. Those people
Yeah.
were manipulated by the government to do that for whatever reason. I
Yeah, but
just
this
feel
thing has been
like,
going on for a long time. That's
yeah,
that's my issue. That's the other issue I have, Stephen. During pre-1865, during the actual slave period in this country, there were a plethora of slave revolts. All of those revolts stifled by other black people because that's where that whole stop snitching stuff come from. People think that the snitching thing came from like the 70s, 80s, the drug stuff.
yeah,
No, this stuff goes way back because you always had somebody willing to sell out. And we're still seeing it today. Think about it. You
yeah,
got the Jasmine Crockett's, you
yeah,
got the
no,
Jim
for sure,
Clyburns, you
for
got the
sure.
Jamal Bryants, you got black people right now. The who else? Al Sharptons. You got so many black folks out there willing to sell black people out.
It's
And
not even just, it's not even
that's
just
been a
here.
problem.
It's not even just here. It's across the world. Look at what they trying to do. They keep trying to
Yeah.
kill General Traore over there, and all he trying to do is fit Central Africa. Everything they say about him is a lie, trying to say he's an extremist and stuff. And I'm like, no, he's got Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger pretty much back on equal grounding so they can make a way for themselves. And it's black people that's been trying to kill him and doing the bidding of like France and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And then
exactly. So that's an issue that we have. The other thing I will say here is this: when you think about Black America, and you start talking about the actual worth, the net worth, the amount of money that flows through the hands of black people in this country, and it's a lot. It's so much that set aside on its own would be considered a top 20 nation when you come to GDP amongst other world nations out there.
For sure.
So what I will challenge and say, it's not an issue that black people don't have money. That is not an issue.
Yeah.
The issue is the lack of financial literacy and the lack of financial discipline that we see in this country. And the reality of it is, it's not just a Black American thing. It is an American thing. Americans have spending problems.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, 18% of the country's population makes 100,000. 40% of the people that make 100,000 a year are living check to check. So it's not a situation where it's a money problem. We have spending problems in this country. We have a covetousness problem in this country. We covet entirely too much, things that we don't need. So I understand people will say, hey, there's a debt, so forth and so on. But the plight that a lot of us are in today, it ain't really systemic. A lot of it's systemic from our families because we come from people that don't necessarily know how to get it. But when you look at America as it is today, and you look at who actually has money, if you look at married couples in this country, regardless of demographic, married couples in America are the highest earning people in the country. That is a fact.
Feel like it.
And that is a fact. That is a fact.
Like,
but what I'm saying is that that is the truth. Married people, and when you look at the household income, the disparity between race is very, 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 very minimal. You know what I'm saying? If there is any at all, if there is, it's minimal. So when you think about people say, oh, we don't have money, this, that, and the third. Yeah, if you're a single mother with children, you're struggling. And to be honest with you, you should be struggling. You know what I'm saying? Because you're operating out of order. You're not operating in the way that you should be operating. A lot of times you have households that are making money, but they're struggling, not because they don't make enough money, because they don't know how to budget. They don't know how to, they're not financially savvy enough to handle the money and the finances that they earn. So a lot of our issue, and I will say, yeah, it's a Black American, but really and truly, it's an American thing because the average American just ain't making I'm not going to say just ain't making no money, because when you think about in the grand scheme of things, the average American, we are top 1%ers when you think about the world. You know what I'm saying? When you think some of those countries that you mentioned, you know what I'm saying? Nigeria and some of these other places, bruh, we're talking $300 to $400 a month is what they earn. You know what I'm saying? So for us, we look at it and say, oh man, $60,000, I ain't making no money. But you know how many people would trade places with you in a heartbeat to make $60,000 a year?
That's a fact.
You know what I'm
man.
saying? So
That's
I
a
think a
fact.
lot of our issue is that we have a covetousness problem. We're so busy looking at what we don't have that we don't really take the time to thank God for how good we actually have it. And we got to do better with our finances. We have to do better financially from a savings, from a budget, from a budgetary standpoint. There are a lot of things that we are off on. And if we stop having kids, like if you could change your trajectory and not have, you want to change your life as a young person, something I've told my kids, don't have kids out of wedlock, get your life in order, choose the right spouse, and then y'all build together. And in 20 years, y'all will be sitting on some real bread if you do it the right way.
Yeah.
I've got a chance to see it with myself. I'm operating and I'm doing it right now in my own life. I've got a chance to watch my parents do it. Been married, almost 40 years or so together. And I got a chance to see them. And I know where we started and I know where they are today because they got together and they worked and they saved and they budgeted and they went about things the right way. And they told all us grown kids, we ain't helping y'all. You know what I'm saying? We did what we're supposed to do as parents. You are an adult. You're responsible for your own life, for your own wife, for your own family.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you do that, you're going to be fine. So, I mean, I understand, where you're coming from, and to an extent, there is some agreement there. But my issue with this reparation talk, because one, I don't think it's ever going to happen. So
Me neither.
let's stop talking about it and stop believing these daggone Democrats when they come and tell you, "Hey, we got this for you." Come on, man. It's not true. How many times did they got to show you that, hey, they're going to veto a bill, they're going to veto, how many times they got to show you before you believe them?
It's just a manipulation tool.
It's a manipulation tactic. Exactly. And the thing is that when Barack Obama was in office, not that, I'm a fan of Barack Obama, but he could have did it. The first 2 years of his term, they had the House, the Senate, and the White House. They literally could have passed anything that they wanted to do, and it never even, it was not even a subject that was even broached. They never even brought it to the forefront. So that in itself lets you know that they have zero intent on doing this, but it's a way to manipulate black people to continue to support them because they know Republicans and most of us on this side of things don't agree with it. Go get it for yourself. Go put the work in and go get it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And they also understand that the Democrats, they don't have any intent on doing it, but they'll sell you some wolf tickets. They'll sell you a dream. Democrats are like the pimp. You know what I'm saying? And black folks is like the prostitute. They will sell a dream. They don't have zero intent on fulfilling. Zero intent on fulfilling.
They do the same.
They'll sell you that dream and they'll have you believing that you're going anywhere.
They do the same thing with birthrights. With Roe v. Wade, and they could have ratified that. They do the exact same thing with that.
Yeah,
so,
they could have did that too. A long time ago. There's been multiple presidents. Clinton could have did it. Carter could have did it. You know what I'm saying? If they really wanted to, do it, it could have been done. There's been multiple times where a Democrat president had the House and the Senate, and they could have codified it into law, and they chose not to.
Because
it's just another. It's a tool that they use to manipulate people, man. It really is, man. But I'll give you the last word. I got to get Billy Jack up in here. He's been waiting for a little bit.
Man. The only other thing I was going to say was that women have absolutely I think the biggest thing with them is they've tried to overcorrect, and that's what I think our biggest. I don't think men have inherently changed. I think there's always going to be good men, always going to be bad men, always going to be the in between or whatever. But I think women have absolutely going back to your last point with some of the things that you said about that situation. They've absolutely overcorrected and it's gone way too left. But I do have to get ready for my meeting, man. I appreciate you, Wise.
Yeah, good luck to you, man.
It's great to talk to you again, brother. I appreciate you, man. I'm pull up again later.
Yeah, please do. Hey, I'd love to hear more about this app, especially if you're looking for investors or something along those lines. I'd love to hear about it. So shoot me an email whenever you get ready to do so, man. Shoot me a message.
I'm going to shoot you an email. All right. I'm going to send you my link tree. All right. Talk to you soon.
All right, man. Thanks, Stephen, man. God bless him, man. Shout out to Stephen pulling up this morning. God bless that brother and his application, man. I love the idea. Shout out to Mike C with the $5 super chat. He says, look at the Oranje people in South Africa. They built something from nothing after choosing to move away from the South Africa community. I'm not familiar with the Oranje people, and I probably should have brought that up when Stephen was on there just to give him the opportunity to react to it. But shout out to Aaron. Yeah, we always gonna get that. But it is what it is. I'm okay with that, Aaron. I still don't agree, and I feel how I feel. I feel how I feel. And that's the problem. You get a lot of folks out there, if you do disagree, within the topic, when it comes to reparations, you got to be, they got to call you out your name. You got to be a coon, bootlicker, so forth and so on, if you don't necessarily agree. But it's all good. That don't hurt my feelings. What's going on, Billy Jack? How you doing today, brother?
Doing real good. Thank you for having me online with you.
Oh, thank you for pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. What do you have for us?
Well, first of all, I'd like to tell you that I greatly admire your commentary that you share with us with your videos, because so far I haven't found anything I didn't agree with.
Cool.
And at this point, what's the dominant topic right now? I'm sure I can come up with something to say on about anything.
Dominant topic, I guess. What are your thoughts on Rubio? And it's just in the topic that we were discussing today.
Marco Rubio is a very smart guy. I live in Florida, where he was a big wheel in the state Senate for a while, and then he's obviously moved up, and he turned out to be a lot more brilliant than I thought initially. He's a Cuban, basically a Cuban American, his heritage, and he I can't recall that he ever used any of that rhetoric, in his campaigning and so forth, in politics. But he's doing a great job. He's doing a terrific job as, he's doing.
What are your thoughts on the administration that President Trump has put together as a whole? Do you feel good? I think somebody had mentioned that they agree with about 95% of what the administration is doing. But what are your thoughts on just the administration that President Trump has put together thus far?
He put together a terrific team. Most of those people I was familiar with, from observing the news and, and so forth before he ever appointed them. And I knew who they were. For example, Pam Bondi, she was the Attorney General here. Marco Rubio, we've already talked about. And I've seen Hegseth on news a lot. I was familiar with his views. Judge Jeanine, which is an outstanding pick. She'd be a good one for the Supreme Court if he could ever get it through. If the time
I don't know if Judge Jeanine gets through the Supreme Court. I think they might run her through the mud. But I do think she'd be a good pick. You get no argument from me there.
But I don't think they can find too much on her. She seems
but don't you typically, to be a Supreme Court justice, typically you would have to be a federal justice of some or federal judge of some sort in the past. I don't think Judge Jeanine has that in her background.
Well, she hasn't been a federal judge, but she's been a judge.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any requirement. Maybe you know more than I do about it, but I don't think there's a requirement of being a federal judge first. I don't think.
Okay.
Now,
Let's
maybe someone has some input on that. They can give us real quick. But, but every pick he made was good.
What did you think of? What do you think of those folks that kind of barged their way into the Delaney facility up in Newark? Do you think that they should be prosecuted? Do you think they should, just kind of let bygones be bygones because they are, sitting representatives, so forth and so on? What are your thoughts there?
Well, my thoughts are, as Big Tish tells us, no one is above the law, right?
That's true.
That's right. Okay. They should prosecute all of them. I'll tell you what, they don't get a free pass on anything I wouldn't get a free pass on, or you. You understand?
No.
If we'd done the same thing, they would have arrested me right on the spot if I'd done that. They let her slide. But I seen her putting elbows and shoulders into ICE agents. I seen her hacking with her hand, like this a couple of times. She obviously was trying to hit somebody, and maybe they have some really good video of that. But at one point, I seen her fist doubled up when she raised her hand like that. So, so she needs to go to jail. I know it'll ruin the career and all that, but what's that worth to what's this country going to lose if she loses her career? when she went to that facility, they took a mob with them, and their plan to begin with was to get a photo op. They wanted to create a disturbance and get a photo op, and then vilify ICE and the Trump administration and all of that. And, you know, she got what she wanted. She got a photo op, but maybe a little bit more than she wants.
Yeah. I think they got what they wanted. I'm glad to see that they did press charges. I'm interested to see what happens today. I believe she goes before judge today. I guess maybe she's being I guess maybe officially arraigned or something along those lines. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I know Hakeem Jeffries that came out and basically kind of throw out some threat that they better not do it. They better not cross that line or play that game. But again, you had mentioned it. If you and I would have gone up there and act like we were going to barge through, federal agents or any law enforcement for that matter, we're going to jail. We wouldn't do it because we know that we would go to jail, and we'd probably get the crap beat out of us too for even trying it. I mean, I thought they were actually being pretty nice to them because of who they were. Because what we do know is that you run up on the police like that, they're liable to slam you and do all types of things. So they actually kind of got off light.
Well, your analogy about the military guard was pretty accurate. If you tried to walk past the checkpoint without the password, you get a rifle butt up beside your head.
Daggone right.
That's
daggone right.
I was in there a long, long time ago, probably before you were born. But there wasn't any of that. They've turned it into for a while, what do you call it? The woke philosophy had turned the military into a bunch of wussies. And I remember very well, I mouthed off to my squad leader, and the platoon sergeant and basic come up to me, and he took a swing at me, but I seen it coming and hit the floor before he got me. And then he stopped, and he always said, if anybody doesn't like the way I run this platoon, he said, you go out back with me. If you can whip me, you can run it.
Now, it wasn't like that when I was in, but I did hear the stories. My pops was in the Army back in the day. My uncle was a Marine back in the day. I did hear some of the stories. They didn't play those games, but when it came to the checkpoint, when it came to stand and watch, hey, you had carte blanche to handle business. No one gets through there if we don't let you. If you're not allowed to, and if you think you're going to barge through, not only you might catch a butt, but you might catch a couple bullets. You're not getting through here.
Yeah, well, I know one thing, no one ever tried it, so I've never seen what happens. But that platoon sergeant I had, he joined the military when he was 15. He lied about his age.
Oh, wow.
And he said he was over in Korea with them Chinese chasing him up and down the hills, when he was like 15, 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
He was a pretty hardcore guy.
I'm sure of it.
Sergeant Milam was his name. And I'll never forget that guy because he was strictly hardcore, no nonsense. That was back in the day. Now you can't threaten to strike a recruit without getting court-martialed.
Oh, absolutely. Well, nowadays, the recruits, they got those little timeout cards and stuff now. Like, hey, I'm feeling a little anxious. I can.
Yeah, not okay. Yeah, your timeout was out digging a hole. You dig the 6-foot deep hole, and then the sergeant comes along and says, "Hey, that's my dirt. What's it doing out of that hole? Put it back in." And, it was a different thing then, a long time ago. But
it was a different time. I mean, it wasn't as soft. It was pretty tough, when I went through basics and things of that nature. But my son is currently in, and one of my friends, he has two children currently in, and we've talked to them, and it's just like, man, they've definitely softened it up a little bit. But hopefully, with this new administration, with them removing, some of this woke stuff up out of there, with them, enhancing the physical requirements. Hopefully that makes some changes because we've been a laughing stock. On the world stage for a while now, with what's been going on in our military, and that is something that needs to change for sure.
Well, I know these what's that called? Equity, diversity, and inclusiveness,
Uh-huh.
whatever. That's
Oh, the DEI, the diversity, equity, and inclusion.
yeah,
Yeah.
DEI. That's a bad deal. Because if I had ever went into combat, I would not want some chick backing me up that wasn't strong enough to carry her backpack.
Yeah. No, I don't think anybody wants that.
No.
You know, if you go down, she can't pick you up. That's like the fire lady, the fire department chief out there in California earlier this year that was like, hey, if a 200 or 250 pound or 300 pound man finds himself and they need me, what are you doing up there anyway? And it's just like, you are a fire person or fireman or whatever you want to call them these days. Like, that's your job. So ridiculous, man. So ridiculous.
You know, that's just, we have a big problem here, and that's the education system. Now, that has been ignored for the last 50 years, and it's a fault of the parents. When the kids come home from school, they never ask them, what did you learn in school today? Or some of this woke stuff would have got shut off. But they brainwash a whole succession of college graduates with fancy degrees. They end up with positions of influence in the educational community and in the universities and colleges. And then they teach this woke nonsense. And those people come out, you know, with the sense of entitlement. And they also think that they have the only valid answers to the human problems. And they try to force it on everyone else. And they call them Democrats. And we've got a bunch of those. The last two generations, I think Albert Einstein is the one that said he fears the day when technology would surpass our human interaction because the world will have a generation of idiots. That's what Einstein said. And he
said this a long time ago. Wow, he was spot on.
Yeah, he was quite a philosopher, actually. He wasn't just a brilliant scientist, he was a philosopher. There's a lot of quotes from him, but he's quite a story himself, a lot of contradictions. You know, he was kicked out of high school. They kicked him out, and but he was writing math papers for mathematicians before he ever graduated high school. And then he had to go back into high school because they wouldn't let him in college without a high school degree. But he did not like those authoritarian teachers. You know, he said from, I believe his quote was, from the age of 12, he said, I began to distrust government and suspect teachers. So
man, I would say that he was ahead of his time, but maybe I'm assuming that's what was going on during his era. And if you look at school today, I mean, they're indoctrinating them earlier and earlier. You know, now they're starting them at pre-K, kindergarten, you know, with all this woke stuff, and they're getting the kids early, man. It's just unfortunate. But I'll give you the last word, and then I got to get up out of here.
Well, last word, reparations. I want my reparations because you're familiar, I'm sure, with where the word slavery come from, right?
So say that again. Where the word slave comes from?
Word slavery. Where did that come from?
From Slavic nations.
That's when those people were slaves back hundreds of years ago, and they weren't black; they were white. So, and the Irish too. The Irish. That's where the term redneck come from. They used to have collars, you know, with chain on them around their neck. When they take that collar off, it'll be red, and that's where the term, you know, a red ring. And that's where the term redneck come from. But hey, if they're going to give reparations to any class of people, I want mine for having Irish heritage, okay? Because the Irish were slaves too.
Oh my goodness!
I don't. They were discriminated against in New York City when they immigrated. You know, the Irish were considered, you know, they were considered lower class, you know, citizen than, for example, the Italians. So
I believe you'd get a lot of pushback. You know, I have heard, you know, about the Irish. I have heard, you know, about the Slavs. I think that would be something that would probably come from Europe, somewhere over in there. Here in this country, you know, over in Eastern Europe, you know, and here in this country, you'd have pushback there. I think, you know, maybe the Irish, but you'd get some pushback, you know, because of what happened in this country. And then I've also heard people say, you know, maybe we need to, you know, go back to Africa and some of those countries, you know, Ghana and Nigeria and some of those other places, you know, maybe they could kick in, you know, for that reparations as well. But Billy, I appreciate you pulling up, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate you pulling up. Appreciate you supporting the channel as well, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, man. All right. Shout out to Billy for pulling up. He said he wants his reparations too because he's Irish, or maybe he was a Slav. A Slav. Shout out to him, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate you pulling up. Appreciate everybody pulling up this morning. There was a couple of super chats I wanted to read real fast. Give me 1 second here. We had my guy Aaron over at Freeman's Network with the $2 super chat. He says, Wise, that was not directed at you. Appreciate that, brother. And then Troy Goodry, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, with the $2 super sticker. Thank you very much. Appreciate you pulling up. Yeah, I mean, every time this reparations conversation comes up, man, it's such a divisive conversation, and all of a sudden everybody can, go in there and they can get into their victimhood bag. Shout out to you, Marjorie. Appreciate you pulling up this morning, sister. Hope all is well with you and the family out there. Y'all check out my sister's channel, man, Marjorie with Purpose. Y'all make sure y'all go check her channel out over there, man. Shout out to you as well, Dion. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Shout out to you, Crystal Beyond. Y'all make sure y'all go check out Crystal Beyond Labels channel as well. Thank you very much. But everybody's got a victimhood claim, in the country or in the world. I mean, everybody can make that, and the crazy thing is you still have slavery going on right now in this world. And to an extent, it may be happening in this country when you think about the amount of kids that have come up missing. They found some of these kids working in some just crazy places. Obviously, you got a lot of human trafficking and things of that nature that's been going on in this country on the low. And things that are going on across the world, and it's just unfortunate, man. Man is inherently evil. Man is inherently evil. And I don't know how we overcome the evil of man. And because if it's not skin color, it will be eye color. If it's not eye color, it will be what part of town you live on. Shout out to, sorry about that, S. Shays with the $2 super chat. Thank you very much. It's, man, the human trafficking, Mike C, is crazy. It's not being talked about. You see a lot of these, young people, especially young women, but there's young boys as well, being taken and being trafficked. This is a thing. This is happening. And it's just one of those things that no one wants to discuss. No one wants to discuss this happening in our country, man. It's just so unfortunate. It's so sad, man. It really is, man. But I appreciate you all pulling up. A lot of times, when we have these conversations, you just kind of never know when things are going to go when people pull up, because I just let people go wherever they want to go with things. But as always, I definitely appreciate you all pulling up, as well, as always. And we'll be back at this thing tomorrow, Thursday morning, 9:30 a.m. Lord willing, we'll be there. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Hope you guys enjoyed, folks pulling up and calling in. Shout out to Playboy Billy and my guy Steven. Shout out to him, and shout out to Billy Jack. Appreciate you pulling up as well. Definitely appreciate that. I appreciate you guys, pulling up and adding some insight and some wisdom, to the conversation. Thank you guys very much. Shout out to all my blues, Zephyr K9, T.A. Caskey. I seen him pull up this morning. Shout out to Brett Montgomery and B. Coaster, shout out to you as well. Appreciate you pulling up this morning and always keeping things civil and peaceful in the chat. Thank you very much. Shout out to the ARP family members. Thank you all, for supporting the channel. And if you have not joined and support the channel in that way, please do so. I definitely appreciate it. S-Pa says, asked him I'm going to do a call in tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure. And I almost kind of feel like I'd like to do a panel on Friday, but I'm not 100% sure about that because I'm not sure what I would want to discuss. But I'll get with some folks. I may do a call in quickly, but a lot of times I do the call ins. At first, I wouldn't get anybody that would be willing to pull up, and now I get people, and the show goes another hour with people that just called in. So that's awesome, man. I really, really enjoy that. But I'm not 100% sure. We'll see, if this happens tomorrow or not. But shout out to you all. Thank you very much. Dion, enjoy the rest of your day. Kawan, enjoy the rest of your day as well. Mike C, appreciate you pulling up, man, and being engaged in the chat today as well, man. Appreciate you guys, man. Keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp.